Here's some very common mistakes made when planning a picture book dummy. I just graded a bunch of these, so it's top of mind. I don't want to throw my students under the bus, so I'm giving you visuals. All right, this is probably my biggest pet peeve. This is the symbol for single page spread, goes right up to the edge. Here's another single page spread. Very often it makes the eye read it like a double page spread. So we have the initial thought that maybe there's two kids, maybe there's twins at a table having pizza. Whereas you're trying to tell us that this kid is about to take a bite of a pizza and then takes a bite of a pizza. How do you fix that? It's actually not hard. You can just put a border around one of them, maybe thicker than that, maybe make one of them smaller. But ideally, think about if you're going to do a full page spread, put it next to something with a spot and like the text over here. That variety is really good for visual interest. Kids get bored easily. I get bored easily. So give us that variety, and also it takes care of that confusion. Pretend these lines are text. A lot of my students chose stories to illustrate, like fairy tales, that were just too much text for a picture book. So if you're writing or if you're doing a sample book, choose something that has minimal text, or if it's in public domain, you can edit it down. Give yourself more room. Putting important stuff too close to the gutter is another biggie. You have to give yourself at least an inch in here because that can get lost in the printing process when they bind it together. So anything that's important, get it away from the gutter, just avoid it. And that includes text. And speaking of text, I notice a lot of students are like, they're putting all their text and they're kind of getting it close to the gutter, but that's besides the point. If you put text here, again, the eye is going to try and read it across. Like once upon a time, she gathered up her belongings. Just get these away from each other, or even better than that, put text here and then put text here, because our eye is going to read through this and it's going to be engaged and going to the next page, which is what we want to happen. This gets us stuck up here. You really have to think about text as being just as important a focal point as anything else on the page. So if you wouldn't put two blocks right up here at the top middle of your page, you wouldn't put text there either. Okay, not the greatest visual, but too much information, no organization of focal points. You want a first focal point, a second focal point. Putting in way too much detail in the dummy book, so I can't even tell what's going on, like just really leaning into, oh, I can render really well. That's not important to a dummy book. I need to know what's going on. Could I have drawn a whole playground? Sure, I could have, but that wasn't the important part of the story. Isn't it better to focus on what's important? I'm Professor Kaz. Ask me your children's book questions.